Howdy friends, today we're talking faster cast rate in Diablo 2 as another installment of my Diablo 2 Mechanics Explained series. So this is going to be one that you're come across a lot, especially if you're going to be a caster. So I'm talking to you Blizzard Sorceresses and your Hammerdins and your every other caster build that's out there. So what is faster cast rate and why and how is it calculated and how is it effective? So faster cast rate is usually shortened to FCR, and if you're looking for games where people say like, oh, FCR charms, etc., that's going to be faster cast rate. So faster cast rate causes spell-based characters to attack faster. As a fun, kind of cool fun fact, exception to this rule are going to be trap assassins. They actually use faster attack speed. I don't want to get into it here, but basically traps don't use cast speed or cast rate. They use attack speed. Just as I thought that'd be a little fun thing to throw in there. So cast rate items will reduce the time it takes to cast spells. Cast rate items will stack, so the more you have, the better. So that's why you see people trying to basically dual wield like a spirit, so Spirit Crystal Sword or Spirit Shield, to get like that potentially 70% total faster cast rate that you can get. Jewelry that has it's pretty common and it is a well sought after mechanic in the game. So faster cast items will not help skills with casting delays, though. That's another big kind of caveat to this. So things like Blizzard, you have to wait a certain amount of time before you are able to cast again. So casting delay or kind of cooldown, as I like to call it, it's a period of time after a player is cast where you basically can't recast it. You're just on a cooldown. And again, using the example of Blizzard, I think Fireball is another one. Not Fireball. The big molten ball thing, which name is escaping me, for a fire druid. Basically, this is only applied to non-delayed spells. So getting into some of the mechanics behind it, each character has a base casting value. This is going to be kind of, these base values, this is going to be a pretty similar equation and concept to my faster hit recovery video that I posted a little bit ago. So you're going to see a lot of similarities between these and some of the future mechanics that I will cover. But each character has a base casting value. This isn't the rate, but it's kind of like a coefficient or a static variable, if you will, that's going to be used to calculate the cast rate. So on screen, I'm going to be flashing up some tables and stuff as I kind of go along this tip so that you can follow along with me. So the casting base of each characters are as follows. So Amazon is going to be a value of 20, Assassin is 17, Barbarian is 14, Necromancer is 16, Druid is 15, Paladin is 16, and Sorceress is 14. And again, the higher the value here, the essentially slower your cast animation speed will be. So as a fun fact, I think it's really neat to notice that Barbarians and Sorceresses have the same exact base value, and they will actually have the same breakpoints as well. So that is why I think builds in recent history, like this one that you see that I have running around here, my little Barbarian, the Warcry Barbarian or the Singer Barbarian. It's kind of like a caster. You're turning the Barbarian into a caster build. But we can get away from it. I love that Barbarian build. But anyway, so the standard animation speed is 256. There's some kind of different cases here. So if like you have the human form druid, that's actually a little lower. So it's going to be 208. The werewolf form is going to be 229. The werebear form is going to be 228. There's some different ones for like the vampire necromancer if you have the full Trang set on. Little things like that. It will affect these, but I'm going to be generally talking about the base animation speed of 256. And so using that, basically, what are you going to do with these base values? So they're going to plug into this equation that you will see here on screen, or equations that you will see here on screen. So the calculation is to find your effective faster cast rate is going to be basically another, let's call it input into the larger frame rate calculation. So it's going to be faster cast rate times 120 divided by faster cast rate plus 120, and then you're going to round that down to kind of get that effective faster cast rate. And then you're going to plug that into the faster cast rate equation. And as a note, just in general, before I go through this, effective faster cast rate, just because of the way the equation is designed, it's going to cap out at 75. So translating that into like adding plus yada yada to faster cast rate, anything higher than 200 faster cast rate is essentially going to be the same exact value. So 200, for all intents and purposes, is going to be the max that anyone should try and shoot for if you're trying to absolutely maximize your faster cast rate. But the equation is as follows. So the cast rate is going to be 256. Again, that's going to be our base animation speed times the casting base. That is the static variable from the previous set of data, divided by the animation speed times 110 plus your effective cast rate divided by 100 rounded down. You round that whole thing down, or round it up -1, and that is essentially going to give you an animation speed, the number of frames it's going to take to complete your casting animation. Just as another fun fact here, so there's going to be 2 skills that also use a slightly different equation, and I have it pointed out here. So that's going to be the lightning and the chain lightning. I believe they are actually a little bit slower than the standard sorceress ones. I think that they have a base value in the base casting value. I think they have a slightly higher one. I think it's like 17 or 18. So the very nature of it is going to be a bit slower. So that's kind of like the base equation that's going to go into how you calculate your faster or your cast rate in terms of frames. So then we get into something that's called, or this concept of breakpoints now. So now you can take these concepts and apply it to a more common form of it that you're going to see are like basically breakpoints. So here are the faster cast rate breakpoints. As a general note, there are 25 frames per second in this game. This was an older game when it was developed, so they could basically only process things so fast. So 1 frame is going to be roughly 0.04 seconds per frame. So while that might not seem like a lot, if you add this all up as you get to reference this table here further to the right of the table, you know, taking it from on the top example here, 19 frames. Or 19 frames down to 8 frames, or I guess you can only really do 11 for the Amazon. That's going to be a big difference in terms of total damage output over time. So, like I said, I wanted to throw up the cast rate or the breakpoint table just to kind of go along with this. I think this kind of helps put into perspective, you know, where you should be trying to gear yourself towards. So, like a really common one is the sorceress. So, like you said, if you have the full 200 faster cast rate, it's going to be 7 frames to cast some of your, again, these kind of continuous spells. Like teleport is one of these, so you'll be able to absolutely fly through the map. Little things like this. It's really just as you start to level this up and you start to add to it and you start reaching these new breakpoints, you are really going to notice the difference. So as a side note, how these breakpoints work, if this is your first time kind of running into this, I did have a video about that, how breakpoints work. I'll link it down below. But essentially, again, using that Amazon example, so the base value is going to be 19 frames to cast something, but with essentially 0 faster cast rate, but with 7 faster cast rate, it bumps it down to 18 frames. If you had 6 faster cast rate, it would still be kind of in that bin of 19 frames. So essentially, this is another slower mechanic of how the game was made. This is kind of just a byproduct of the time when the game was created. So they had to basically bin things into discrete kind of levels. So if you hear someone say like, "Oh, you should try and meet breakpoint X, Y, and Z," again, for that top example, you'd want to try and get 7 faster cast rate, 14 faster cast rate, 22. These would kind of bump you into the next one. So if you're stressing, if you had, like, let's say, again, in the Amazon example, if you had 15 faster cast rate and you were really, really stressed, you wanted to maximize one more piece of gear, but it would only bring you up to 21 faster cast rate, it wouldn't change your breakpoint. So essentially, it really wouldn't be worth your time kind of farming. So in general, there's a lot of items that can add to your faster cast rate. There's some unique ones like the Spectral Shard. It's a unique dagger. It has 50% added faster cast rate. The Wizard Spike, 50% faster cast rate. A lot of the times, especially like I said in the background, my little Singer Barb back here, you will actually want to dual wield these things to try and get 100% faster cast rate in 2 items. That's pretty incredible. Some set items will also give you this. So Taurasha's set, I can't remember how many pieces it is, but there is a threshold where the more number of pieces you had, the more you will essentially get. I could be wrong. Please let me know if I just completely pulled that out of nowhere. I'm trying to look over my list here and I can't seem to find it. But yeah. Oh, actually, it's just the lidless eye. I believe it's just the wand or whatever it's called. Wow, I'm really fudging up these numbers. But I hope this helps break down faster cast rate. This is a very, very widely used mechanic in the game. So I hope this was able to boil it down to you. Let me know if you have any questions, anything that I said that might have been wrong. Please let me know. I'm learning as well. So if you like this video, a like or comment down below would go a long way, and if you would consider subscribing, I would deeply appreciate it. I'm trying to hit a goal of 500 subscribers by the new year, so we're a couple months away, but I would love to grow the channel and get some more people involved. So with that, I will end the video here. I will see you on the next one.